Today, Plymouth 400 has invited the consul generals from Boston, Massachusetts.
There's over 65 Massachusetts-based consulates and consul generals, and one of our jobs is to take them pretty much annually in October to a different part of the state. This year, with the Plymouth 400 coming up in 2020, we had an opportunity to bring them to Plymouth, show them Plymouth so that they'll be prepared to introduce and talk to their countrymen and tourism officials about what's going on in Plymouth in 2020.
We have about 20 countries represented here. They are the diplomats here in Boston, and they're here to experience Plymouth, to learn about the 400th anniversary, and to learn about this history and to want to come back.
Every step here in the town of Plymouth really is an opportunity to encounter the history that goes back, for Americans, by a good long measure, 400 years of history. Here in Plymouth, this was the site of the Wampanoag people who lived here for 10,000 years before the Pilgrims even thought of coming over on the Mayflower in 1620. So we have that deep history to tell here as well. So having members of the consular delegation here really encourage us to think about the broadest ways of understanding the story of this place and to connect people with this history in different ways.
You know, the British consulate loves the fact that Massachusetts is really getting involved in celebrating this. The UK is obviously really invested in Plymouth. This is obviously where the UK's story in the US began. It's where the US's story began. And we've really partnered with Plymouth 400 and other organizations throughout the Commonwealth to celebrate the commemoration coming up in 2020 of 400 years since the Mayflower voyage. There's actually a big commemoration happening in the UK mirroring the one in the US in Plymouth, England, and the 11 other communities in England that sent pilgrims across in the Mayflower. And that means we have to celebrate where they came from across the Atlantic. They have to celebrate where they landed here in Massachusetts. And we have to celebrate the things we've built together.
Certainly for me, having a chance to come to visit Plymouth now a couple of times from my own heritage, to understand just the hardships that our ancestors faced, but the goals and the focus that they had to make a place where their lives would be better, I think speaks to all of us.
So it's a story that I think is one that is a global story in many ways, and we encourage those dignitaries and visitors and guests from all over the world to take a look at this American story and find ways to connect with it.
Oh, it's wishing the people of Plymouth and people of Massachusetts a great celebration of 400 years and a great 400 years more to come in the future too.
We're looking forward to having all of these consulates participate in our festivities in 2020 for Plymouth 400.